Hello, dear ones. Father Peter John coming to you from All Saints Orthodox Church in Bloomington, Indiana. Christ is risen. I want to talk today about a saint that we'll be celebrating tomorrow. Her name is Saint Sophia of Thrace. The question is this: what do we do when tragedy beyond imagination strikes us personally? What do we do? Different people respond and react in different ways. Understandably, some people have a nervous breakdown. Some people become very anxious. Some people become depressed. Some people turn to the church. Some people turn to self-medication, right, with drugs or alcohol. Some people make a radical life change. A radical life change. They look at their life at its root, at its core. They re-examine what is it that's most important to me, and they alter the trajectory of their life. So this is what Saint Sophia of Thrace encountered. She was a 7th century wife, mother of 6 children, everything seemingly going well, when all of a sudden tragedy struck. There was a plague that tore through her village and killed all of her children and her husband. So Saint Sophia went from being a mother and a wife, having many, many things to do each and every day when she woke up, to all of a sudden finding herself in an empty house, devoid of the sound of her children's laughter, devoid of the sound of her husband's voice. So what do we do then? Well, Saint Sophia decided to take the hard but most fulfilling route. She rededicated her life to God. She had already been serving God, of course, during this time. She was faithful in her prayers, in attending the liturgy of the church, etc. But now she found a brand new purpose. She decided in her life that she was going to serve those who were suffering as she was suffering. She was going to take in orphans and care for widows. So that's what she did. Saint Sophia, over the next 20 years of her life, took in over 100 orphans. Not all at the same time, mind you. But she raised them in a stable Christian home, caring for them, praying with them, making sure that they had food and clothing. And when she found that there were widows who had no way of caring for themselves, then she would take some of what she had and sell it and take that money and support those who were suffering, who could not care for themselves, these widows and mothers who were destitute. So Saint Sophia spent 20 years of her life doing this. In her grief, she turned that grief into service of her neighbor. One miracle that was worked in her household was when the poor would come to her, when they would come to her house seeking solace and seeking food and seeking assistance, she would give them a little bit of wine with whatever she gave them to eat. And she found that no matter how many people she served from this wine jar, that it never emptied. And this happened for a long time. And everyone who came, she would give them a little wine, and that wine just never dried out. It never gave out. And so this went on and on until one day she told somebody. She said, "You won't believe this is happening. There's this miracle, and it's this wine." And what happened at that point was, for some reason, the miracle ceased. It stopped. The wine gave out. The other thing was that she was an extreme ascetic. And what this means is that she would compromise her own comfort for the sake of others in particular. She would skip her meals in order to feed those who were hungry. She skipped much sleep caring for those who needed her care. At the age of 53, certainly from exhaustion, Saint Sophia breathed her last and gained her eternal rest in Christ with the saints. Christ is risen. Indeed, he is risen.